Trump's week isn't off to the best start, as it's been announced the 36th, that's right, 36, Republican congressman just announced plans not to seek re-election, meaning more Republicans are retiring ahead of the midterms than at any point in nearly a century, if I'm reading the data correctly.
We want to get to that breaking news. Missouri Representative Sam Graves says 2026 will be his last year in Congress. Thanks for joining us at noon. I'm Jamie Weiss. After nearly 3 decades, he has decided to retire. Graves said in a post this morning that it is, quote, time to pass the torch to allow a new guard of conservative leaders to step forward and chart a path forward for Missourians.
On Friday of last week, Representative Sam Graves, the chair of the House Transportation Committee, announced that he will not seek re-election and will retire from Congress at the end of his term. He posted on X that the decision to end his 26-year congressional career came, quote, after considerable reflection, going on to say, quote, this wasn't an easy decision, but it's the right one. I believe in making room for the next generation. It's time to pass the torch and allow a new guard of conservative leaders to step forward and chart a path forward. Graves has represented Missouri's 6th congressional district, which covers the rural northern part of the state since 2001. And this is what's interesting, right? He filed to run for a 13th term on February of this year, according to records from the Missouri Secretary of State. And Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal, they were the first to report on Friday that Graves planned to withdraw his bid, with many asking what changed since late February.
I've got to tell you, Congresswoman, I mean, some people out there look at this situation and they don't understand. They know that the Republicans are in charge. You are running the House. You are running the Senate. You are running the White House. And yet we have these fights, and it's obvious that you can't get on the same page. And it seems like Democrats are still winning.
Yep. It's extremely frustrating, and that's why we passed a bill for the 4th time to make sure that we pay our Department of Homeland Security agents and the whole department. But this is a border fight. The radical Democrats want open borders. And as you know, it takes 60 votes in the Senate to get anything done. We need some common sense Democrats to come along with us.
But the thing is, he's not the first Republican to do so. I mean, he joins a significant number of members who have opted to not run for another term this election cycle, putting congressional retirements on track to reach their highest level in a decade. So 36 Republicans have so far announced that they will retire from the chamber after this year or not seek re-election, according to the Associated Press. That figure does not include members who have died or resigned this term. So those seats will also need to be filled by November midterms. And while Graves' seat is expected to be filled by a Republican, with the way things have been going, nothing is guaranteed, is it? I mean, take last week when Florida Democrats flipped 2 legislative seats, going down as one of their biggest election nights in years.
A major election upset in Florida. Democrat Emily Gregory defeating Republican John Maples in a state house seat. There was a special election this week. Gregory will represent Floridians in the Palm Beach district. That's where President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home is located. Gregory is a business owner and a military spouse. This is her first time running for office. Her opponent was a former council member in that area. He was endorsed by President Trump. Gregory's victory is said to be historic. That district has been dominated by Republicans. She joins us now. Emily, first off, congratulations. What was your message to voters?
Thanks for having me. My message was pretty consistent, and I listened to the voters. And what I heard was we need Florida to be more affordable. We need to lower our property insurance. We need affordable health care. And we need strong public schools. So that is what we talked about day in and day out. And it worked.
How much in your campaigning did you mention President Trump?
Not at all. It wasn't the forefront of our message. And that's not what we heard from the voters.
And with such a slim majority in the Senate, Republicans should be keeping a close eye on the latest polling. If they are, it's as big a red flag as any. Democrats are leading in the latest polls regarding 4 Senate races for seats currently held by Republicans ahead of the 2026 midterms. And then there are polls like this, which show that former Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown is neck and neck with Senator John Husted, who was appointed to fill the remainder of J.D. Vance's Ohio Senate seat in the upcoming November election. And in Alaska, Democrats have received more unlikely good news in that area as the Democratic challenger maintains a lead against the incumbent Senator Dan Sullivan of Alaska after 6 months of polling.
I don't know how people can vote for these people. You know, I see the midterms are close. I don't know what close means, but I don't know how people can vote for them. You take a look.
I think they would get destroyed in the midterms. I get the vibe. A lot of people I knew who just voted for Trump because they thought it was cool in like high school are just now just being like, I can't stand the guy.
I understand the situation, right? Take each poll with a spoonful of salt. I've had my heart broken by them many a times. So I'm not saying that we should live and die by them, but my job is to come on here and point out patterns, right? To speak on the things that Republicans would like you to ignore and pretend it's all swell, when clearly it's not, right? Democrats are not only more competitive in red districts that have overwhelmingly voted for Trump in the past, they are flipping seats in those areas that Republicans had considered easy dubs.
Democrats are winning local elections everywhere throughout 2025 and now throughout 2026. And they're doing it all over the map in ruby red states like Florida, in Georgia, in Mississippi, in Texas, in Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So Democrats clearly, the facts just speak plainly, the math speaks plainly as day. Democrats have huge enthusiasm behind them right now, and Republicans keep losing in places where just in November of 2024, they were winning big. And so Democrats believe that they had a good year set up because it's a midterm year. You have a Republican president, his poll numbers are down. They thought they had a good year, and they think actually as we start to move through the early spring here, the opportunities are getting even bigger and wider, broader, if you will.
I mean, when you flip a seat which represents Mar-a-Lago, you know things are bad. And as I've said many a times before, these local elections are often indicative of what's to come in the midterms. Republicans know that it spells danger, right? It's obvious, hence why you have Mike Johnson out here talking about the need for a pivot regarding Hispanic voters. Obviously, he can't come right out and say that they effed around and are about to find out due to the fear of his cult leader turning on him. But if everything was as swell as they like to pretend it is, why come out and discuss this hiccup?
We got a little hiccup with some of the Hispanic and Latino voters for certain, because some of the immigration enforcement was viewed to be overzealous, and you know everybody can describe it differently. But here's the good news: we're in a course correction mode right now. We're going to have a new Secretary of Homeland Security. Mark Wayne Mullen is going to be do a great job in that role. I'm sure that he'll be confirmed by the Senate. He's a thoughtful guy. He'll bring a thoughtful approach. You have somebody like Tom Homan, who has 40 years experience in the field and was decorated by former Democrat presidents for his acumen and expertise. And he went into Minneapolis and brought calm to the chaos there. That's what you're going to see. And
why are they reshuffling ICE leadership every few minutes? Why are Fox News polls showing Trump underwater?
One poll that caught our eye in our new Fox poll, Tom, is a view of how much time President Trump spends on issues, immigration, foreign policy, economy, and too much time is really low on the economy, and it seems like there is this, at least in this poll, and these respondents of registered voters, it's a little upside down. Your thoughts on that? And let me play the soundbite first, because in recent days, the president has been to Iowa talking about the economy. Today, he's talking about Trump accounts. Take a listen.
Under this program, the U.S. government will automatically create a tax-free investment account for every newborn American child, something that nobody really would have even thought of. Under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom.
Clearly, the administration sees those numbers out there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was the best event they'd done on the economy. I mean, he went all the way out to Iowa and, you know, gave this speech, but with what was going on and the news out of Minneapolis, and then he posted to Truth Social that he's got an armada steaming toward Iran and threatening them. His economy speech ended up being like the fourth news story of the day. At least this was featured. That poll is really disturbing. And when you look at a poll like that, you got to dig into the internals and the partisan splits. Throw out the Democrats because they hate him. They'll never give him credit. Look at independents, look at Republicans, because that's what the Republican Party needs and what Trump needs for the midterms. And 78% of independents think that Trump isn't spending enough time on the economy. That's a huge number. And the economy is the number one issue by an order of magnitude. Inflation in the economy is 36%. The next closest thing is like 15%. So a lot of work for the administration to continue to do on the economic front.
The president's right when it comes to military targets. However, the president is on the clock with the American people. New Fox News polling shows the president's approval rating taking a hit as gas prices rise from a month ago. 64% of registered voters disapprove of the president's performance on Iran. 71% of people disapprove of the handling of inflation. 66% disapprove of the performance on the economy. Now, all these are connected by oil, which can put pressure on increased prices. And that's why there's so much attention on the Strait of Hormuz.
And why are more Republicans quitting or calling it quits early than in decades?
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.